If you've ever had a hard time choosing between the classic tones of an Ibanez Tubescreamer or a vintage Marshall Bluesbreaker, the guys at NUX have got you covered. In this video, we're going to be checking out this brand new pedal, the Ace of Tone. So the Ace of Tone is an overdrive pedal from the guys at NUX. This contains two classic drive circuits. So on one side, we've got the Marshall Bluesbreaker, and on the other side, we've got the Ibanez Tubescreamer. These are two drive tones that many guitar players have argued about for many years now in the comment section on social media and YouTube, and many discussions have taken place over which is better, why is it better, which order should you run them in, and a variety of other argument topics to do with these tones. So the Ace of Tone is a new pedal from NUX, like I said, which combines two classic circuits, but these circuits are actually already available. We've got the NUX Tubeman and the NUX Morningstar. The Tubeman is their take on the Tubescreamer, and the Morningstar is their take on the Bluesbreaker. So what the guys at NUX have done is they've combined both of those circuits into one handy, friendly pedalboard sized pedal. This is really cool if you're someone who wants to really experiment with two very classic coveted tones, but you don't want to give up a ton of real estate on your pedal board. Not only is the Ace of Tone two classic drive sounds in one pedal, but there's also a couple of cool additional features as well. So as you look at the pedal, imagine this split in half. The one side is the Bluesbreaker side, and this side is the Tubescreamer side. So in the middle, we've got a 2-position switch, which just determines which side is first in the chain. So you can flip the way you've stacked both of these. And each side actually has an additional mode, which we'll get onto in a moment. 3 knobs for each side. The larger ones at the top are the gain knobs. These control the gain level you're hearing. The ones in the middle are the tone. So this is the overall brightness of the sound. And the bottom ones are the level for each side. So you can use this as a sort of a stacked gain pedal, or you can use one side as a boost, or you can boost into the other side. There's a bunch of different things you can do with this. There's also, like I said, an additional feature on each of the foot switches. So up here we have two small LED lights. When you hold down the Bluesbreaker foot switch, this LED enables, which is known as shine mode. Now what shine mode is it's the classic Bluesbreaker sound with a bit more high-end sparkle. One of the big criticisms of the classic Bluesbreaker sound is that it can be a little muddy, so NUX have added the shine mode, which is essentially like pushing a treble booster into your blues driver or your Bluesbreaker circuit. Just adds a nice bit of extra high-end content there. And on the Tubescreamer side, the big criticism with all Tubescreamer users is that it shaves off all the bottom end. By holding this foot switch, you enable this LED, which is the fat mode, which is a bass boost for the Tubescreamer side. On the top of the pedal, we've also got an external switch where you can switch between the two sides if you have an additional switch there. In and out, we can run this at 9 or 18 volts, so if you want that extra headroom, you can run this in 18 volt mode. And we've also got true bypass or buffered bypass as well. For the purpose of this video, I'm just going to be running it in true bypass, but if you're using this in a long chain of pedals, you can use the built-in buffer to just add that little bit of extra sparkle through your tone. All right, so let's take a listen now to how the Ace of Tone sounds. So I'm going to be using my early 80s Tokai Strat, which is loaded with a set of Righteous Sound Redwood pickups. These are like your sort of early 60s Strat style pickups. This is plugged into the Cool Amplification Blue Sky, which is a completely clean amp. You're hearing reverb from the Surfy Industries Surfy Bear Classic Spring Reverb Tank, and the amp is running straight into the Torpedo Captor X from 2 Notes, which is running an IR of a Bassman style amp. So here's the clean tone. So I'm going to switch the pedal on. I'm going to start with the Bluesbreaker side, not with the shine mode engaged, so just the standard mode. I'm going to play a bit, change the controls, and move the pickup switch on the guitar. The pedal is currently set with everything to 12 o'clock. So that definitely has all of those classic Bluesbreaker type sounds. It actually sounds exactly like the Morningstar pedal, which is exactly what you'd hope for because it's the same circuit. Now I didn't engage the shine mode there, I'm going to come back to that later on. Now I'm going to kick on the Tubescreamer side, which is the NUX Tubeman. Again, set to midnight, so I'm just going to kick that on. I'm going to play, move the controls, and move the pickup switch on the guitar. So obviously with this being a Tubescreamer style, we should hear a bit more mid presence now with a little bit more of a low end roll off. Alright, so now let's talk about the secondary functions of each side. So to activate the secondary functions, you just hold the foot switch for the side you want to engage it on. So if we're doing this on the Bluesbreaker side, I hold that and it lights up this purple LED here. This lets me know the shine mode is engaged. Same is true on the Tubescreamer side, it just engages the fat mode. You just hold the switch for a second, turn it on or off again. This is actually the same if the pedal is already engaged. You can still bank between the two modes, just begin by holding, and it will just switch it on and off. So these foot switches are pretty clever. They know when you're turning the pedal on and off and the secondary mode on and off. So on the Bluesbreaker side, I've reset it now to midnight. So what we're going to hear is the same Bluesbreaker tone from earlier. Then I'm going to engage the secondary mode, which is the shine mode. This is going to add some additional high end. that's particularly useful if you love that Bluesbreaker kind of tone, but you're playing it through a dark amp, or you've got a guitar with dark pickups. That can be really nice to activate a little bit of additional top end there. Also quite useful if you want to cut through the mix a bit more. Now on the Tubescreamer side, the mode is the fat mode. So I'm just going to activate the Tubescreamer side once more. I'm just going to boost it just above midnight. So we're going to hear a very typical Tubescreamer sound, and then when I hold this switch to activate the fat mode, what we're going to get is just a little bit of a low end bump, which is the main thing that people say is wrong with the Tubescreamer, is that it's missing the low end. So you can see that's a very, very useful feature with the Tubescreamer type sound. It just adds a nice fatness to the low end. Now where the fun really starts is when we start stacking these into each other. So I'm just going to start off by setting them both pretty similar. So I've got the gains up at around about 2 o'clock, the tone is about the same, and the secondary features are switched off. So I'm going to start with the Bluesbreaker side on, and I've got this listed as my primary side. So the switch there is to the right, which means the Bluesbreaker is first in the chain. I'm going to stack the Tubescreamer side on top of the Bluesbreaker. So here's how that's going to sound, and then I'll flip the switch so you can hear the difference. So you can hear that the stacking order does have a big difference on the tone, with the switch to the left side, which I believe is the Bluesbreaker side going into the Tubescreamer side. The gain structure sounds like it's collapsing a little more, which gives a nice sort of fuzzy saturation, which I really like. And the other side is a little bit smoother, so it's a bit more rounded and a bit more sort of mid-ranged focused. So some really cool tones to be had there with the two different stacking modes. Now we're going to look at some humbucker tones. So I've got my Shergold Provocateur here, which has a Seymour Duncan Pearly Gates PF style pickup in the bridge and a P90 in the neck. So I'm going to start with the Bluesbreaker side. I'm just going to play a bit now, and I'm just going to switch between the pickups, so between the bridge humbucker and the neck P90, and I'm also just going to switch on and off the secondary function in real time as I tweak the pedal as well. So I'm just going to start at midnight. So even with the relatively hot humbucker, the Bluesbreaker side is not going to be giving you super high gain levels. That's doing the same thing with the Tubescreamer side. So really the one thing left to hear now is the effect of gain stacking. So I'm just going to set it the way I had it set a moment ago, which is the gain on the Bluesbreaker side on full and the gain on the Tubescreamer side on about 2 o'clock. So let's start with the Bluesbreaker side up front, but I've just got the Tubescreamer switched on. So there's a ton of really cool tones there when you come to stacking and flipping the pedal orders as well. Again, you still get that kind of gain collapsing thing when you stack the Bluesbreaker into the Tubescreamer. I really love the sound of that. It's sort of verging on fuzz, but not quite fuzz. That's a really cool drive tone that I think I will definitely get a lot of use out of. This is a really cool pedal. It's super versatile. If you're always sort of, you know, flipping between the Tubescreamer thing and the Bluesbreaker thing, the Ace of Tone is the perfect middle ground for someone who wants both of those tones with some additional features, which people often feel are missing from the original circuits as well. So what do you guys think? Let me know down below in the comments what you think of the sound of the Ace of Tone. I think this is a really cool pedal. You guys can check this out. There are some links down below in the description where you can check out this pedal, read up about it, and while you're down there, let me know what you think about it as well. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are on how this version of a Tubescreamer and a Bluesbreaker stacks up to your expectations of the real deal. While you're down there checking out the links, don't forget to hit the like and the subscribe button, and I'll see you guys very soon. Thanks for watching.